going to use two different methods here, so I'm going to explain those first so I don't have to explain them as much while I'm doing them. So the first one is the handheld method, where we're going to take our slide and hold it in our non-dominant hand with the frosted side facing us, and we're going to put a drop of blood about 1 centimeter from the frosted edge. We're going to take our spreader slide and put it at about a 45-degree angle and pull it back into our blood sample. The blood will run across this edge of the spreader slide, and we will push it forward on our slide to create our smear. So similarly with the tabletop method, we're going to hold our base slide and put a drop of blood here about 1 centimeter from the frosted edge. Take our spreader slide at a 45-degree angle and pull it back into the sample. Spread it forward to create our blood film. So we have our EDTA blood here. We're going to invert this 4 to 6 times to thoroughly mix that sample. And we're going to take our sample of blood here and put it about 1 centimeter from the edge of our slide, and pull our spreader slide back at a 45-degree angle and push it forward. So this slide, as you can see, is about 1 inch in length, about half of the distance of the slide. It is about as wide as the slide is, and it has a slightly rounded edge with no tail-like projections. So we're going to do the same thing ring came off our cap. We're going to do the same thing for our tabletop method. And we're going to get our sample of blood, hold our slide, our base slide, and pull back our spreader slide and push that forward. So you can see these two slides are about the same length, which is at least half of the, or about half to 2/3 of the slide. These ones are at least 1 inch long. They have a feathered edge with no tail-like projections, and they are slightly curved at the top. The feathered edge, which is this top section here, is where we look for our platelets and to see if they are clumped or not. And then our monolayer, which is kind of this section here, is where our cells are just touching each other and not overlapped at all. And it will give us a good depiction of our white blood cells and other large things that we may find in our blood smear. So we're going to move these over to the lab and let them air dry here for just a few minutes with the butt end down, and we'll be back in just a moment to stain our slides with our Diff Quick. Okay, so our slides have had a chance to air dry here a moment, so we're going to take the lids off of our Diff Quicks, and we're going to run each one of these slides through step 1, step 2, and step 3. For each time, we're going to do 10 1-second dips in each of the steps. So we'll take our first one here and dip it 10 times. And we'll just drip off the excess. Go to the next one. Drip off our excess again and go to the last step. Okay, so now we'll rinse this slide. So we'll come over to the sink here and we'll rinse this slide with the butt end down with our tap water. And then we'll set this up to dry, air dry, butt end down. While we're waiting for that to dry, we'll do our other slide. Oops, slide got stuck. Alright, and then we're going to rinse this slide as well in our sink with the butt side down and let that dry. While those are drying, we'll just put the lids on our Diff Quick containers. And while we wait for those to air dry, we will make sure we have our patient information to put on our slide. So I'm just going to grab my tube that's labeled with our patient information here. So we're going to put today's date, the species of the patient, and our patient ID number. So we will be back in just a moment when these are done air drying. So we've allowed our slides to air dry, so we're going to put our patient information on them. We're going to put today's date, the patient species, which is dog, and the patient ID number. And I'm going to put the name on here too, just so I don't have to remember who it is. Oops, my pencil is breaking. 9905. So same thing with our other one. Oh, I flipped my slide over on accident. 72519. Species and patient ID information.